Okay, students, good morning, all of you. Our next topic discussion. See, sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. See here, in last class we discussed grafting. Okay, so with that, previous topic is finished. Next, sexual reproduction. In this one, sexual reproduction involves the fusion of gametes from two different parents. Fusion of gametes. Fusion of gametes from two different parents, and as a result of that, new individuals are formed. New individuals are formed. Those new individuals are genetically different from both the parents. Some are identical, some genes are different from both the parents. That is called sexual reproduction. Okay, so sexual reproduction involves the fusion of gametes from two different parents and result in the production of new individuals. These new individuals are obtained parental genes. So those genes are, some genes are identical to the parents, some genes are non-identical to the parents. That is called sexual reproduction. Next, the sexual reproduction involves in the fusion of two gametes, fusion of two gametes from two different parents, to different parents, different parents. See, it is involved in the fusion of two gametes from two different parents. Those two different parents are, one is male parent, another one is female parent. So each of the parent produces the reproductive units. Reproductive units. Reproductive units. Those reproductive units are called gametes. Those reproductive units are called gametes. See, each parent, male parent produces male reproductive unit. Female parent produces female reproductive units. Those units are called gametes. Okay, so generally, the gametes are produced by the gametes. Gametes. Gametes are produced by the meiosis division. Meiosis divisions. So as a result of meiosis division, gametes are formed. Those gametes are haploid in nature. See, the process of production of gametes are called gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. The process of production of gametes are called gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. So as a result of gametogenesis, haploid gametes are formed. Those gametes are sperm, haploid ova. See, in the female reproductive organisms, in the female reproductive organs, gametogenesis commonly takes place. In the male reproductive organs, gametogenesis commonly takes place. As a result of gametogenesis, haploid sperm are formed in male reproductive organs. As a result of gametogenesis, in females, haploid ova are formed. So these gametes always formed by the meiosis divisions. Already we discussed in previous classes. Meiosis divisions is also called reductional divisions. Reductional divisions. So in parental organisms, chromosomal number is 46. So during gametogenesis, meiosis divisions takes place. This 46 chromosomes becomes half, 23 chromosomes. Okay, that's all. So meiosis divisions are important. If meiosis divisions takes place, so 46 chromosomes becomes 23 set. Okay, that's all. Next, during fertilization, male 23, female 23 chromosomes. So as a result of fertilization, male and female gametes are fused and produces diploid single-celled zygote. Diploid single-celled zygote. See, 23 plus 23, 46. Diploid set is restored in zygote. See, so as a result of fertilization, during fertilization, male gametes, female gametes, both are combined with each other. 23 plus 23 becomes 46. So 46. 46 means what? Diploid. Diploid set of chromosomes restored in the zygote. This is called single-celled zygote. This single-celled zygote undergoes repeated mitotic divisions. And produces embryo. So the embryo gives rise to multicellular individuals. So the multicellular individuals are formed by cell differentiation, and organogenesis. See here, diploid single-celled zygote undergoes repeated mitosis divisions. Mitosis divisions is also called equational divisions. 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 6, 6, 8. Like that, number of cells are formed. When number of cells are formed, then that number of celled zygote is called embryo. This embryo continuously grows and produces a multicellular individual. This embryo undergoes divisions and forms multicellular individuals, multicellular offsprings by cell differentiation. So cell differentiation means what? Already many times I said that. So the embryo differentiated into 3 germ layers. Outer external ectodome, middle mesodome, and internal endodome. Ectodome, middle mesodome, and inner endodome. In such a way, the embryo is differentiated, cell differentiation. So whatever maybe the cells are there, those are all the cells are differentiated and forms 3 germ layers: ectodome, mesodome, and endodome. These 3 layers produces various kinds of cells, various kinds of organs. The process of production of organs is called organogenesis. Okay, so the zygote undergoes mitosis divisions and produces embryo. This embryo continuously grows and produces multicellular organisms by cell differentiation and organogenesis. So finally, like this way, new individual organisms are formed as a result of sexual reproduction. So the new individual organisms gets a set of genetical composition from the parents. See, new multicellular offsprings are formed. So new individuals, new organisms, or new offspring gets a set of genome from both the parents. A set of genome, nothing but genes from male and female parents. In that genes, half of the genes are similar to their parents, rest of the genes are non-identical genes. Those genes are similar to their past generation. Okay, like that way, new organisms are formed as a result of sexual reproduction. See here, it has been observed that though the plants, animals, and fungi. It has been observed that though the plants, animals, and fungi. So, though these plants, animals, fungi differ in their morphological, internal physiology, but they share similar pattern of sexual reproduction. So, in these all the organisms, sexual reproduction is similar, fusion of gametes, but their external features, internal features different. So, plants external and internal features, animals external and internal features, fungi external and internal features are though different, but these all the organisms share similar form of similar pattern of sexual reproduction. Okay, that's all. This is the sexual reproduction characteristic features. Now, occurrence, occurrence, sexual reproduction occurrence. See here, sexual reproduction occurs in almost all the plants, animals, including human beings. Okay, that is the occurrence. Sexual reproduction occurs in all plant and animal species, including human beings. That is occurrence. See here, features. Features, some features common to all sexually reproducing organisms. What are those features? Let us see now. Some features common to all sexually reproducing organisms. Before discussing about features of sexually reproducing organism, here we have to discuss some important terms related to animals and plants. That is what we will discuss. Okay. See here some important terms about plant and animal species. First, unisexual organism. See here, nearly all vertebrates and many invertebrates, they possesses different sex organs. Sex organs are distinct, specific. That is, male and female organisms are different. Such organisms are called unisexual organisms. Uni means single. We are unisexual. We are unisexual. Okay. Male reproductive organs, female reproductive organs are different. Such type of organisms are called unisexual organisms. Bisexual organisms. See, bi means two. Bisexual organisms also called hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodites. That is earthworm, leech, tapeworm, etc. Those organisms possesses both male and female reproductive organs in one body. Such type of organisms are called bisexual organisms. Those organisms also called hermaphrodite. Third one. Unisexual plants. Unisexual plants. See, unisexual plants also called dioecious plants. Dioecious plants. Dioecious plants. See here, unisexual plants. That is papaya. Papaya. Date palm. Date palm. And mulberry. Mulberry. Okay, so these plants contains only male reproductive, either male or female reproductive parts. Those plants are called unisexual plants or dioecious plants. Next, bisexual plants or monoecious plants. Bisexual plants or monoecious plants. See, the plants which contain both, that is male reproductive parts, female reproductive parts in same plant. Such type of plants are called bisexual plants. Those are also called monosexual plants. Those are also called hermaphrodites. Okay, so here example chara, chara, castor bean, castor bean, cucumber, cucumber, and maize, and maize. Okay, that's all. These are all bisexual plants. Next, unisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers, some flowers which contains only one reproductive organ, unireproductive organ. That's maybe, that's either stamen or carpel. Those are called unisexual flowers. So here male flower, male flower, male flower. See, some flowers which contains only stamen, stamen. Those flowers are called male flowers or staminate flowers. Next, female flowers. Female flowers. Some flowers which possesses only carpel. Carpel. Such type of flowers are called female flowers. Bisexual flowers. Some flowers which contains both the reproductive organs in the same flower. Such type of flowers are called bisexual flower. Example, sweet potato. Example, sweet potato. Okay, that's done. Next, homothallic. Heterothallic. Homothallic and heterothallic. Homothallic is also called monoecious. Homothallic is also called monoecious. You may be understood. Homothallic, that means what it refers to. Both male and female reproductive structures are located in the same thallus. Same thallus. Same thallus. As in fungi. As in fungi. That is called monoecious. Heterothallic, it is also called dioecious. It refers to the either male or female reproductive structures are located in thallus. Example, some fungi, some fungal species, some fungal species. Okay, so these are all the important terms related to plants and animals. Okay, from these compulsory one objective bit on either NEET or CET. You must remember these are all 8 important terms with examples. Okay. Next topic on features common to all sexually reproducing organisms. See here, some features are very common in all sexually reproducing organisms. Those features are juvenile phase. Juvenile phase, it is also called juvenile phase or vegetative phase. So it is a phase that refers from period of birth to till an organism attains maturity for producing organisms. That is called juvenile phase, also called vegetative phase. See once again, it is the phase which refers to period from birth to till an organism attains, reaches to the maturity for producing new individual organisms. That phenomenon is called juvenile phase. That's all. This is the first definition of juvenile phase. Generally here, juvenile, the word juvenile. The word juvenile refers to animals. The word vegetative phase, vegetative refers to plants. In our case, we will call the term juvenile is used to animals. The term vegetative is used to plants. Okay. Generally, the juvenile phase is of variable in different organisms. Juvenile phase is not uniform in all the organisms. Some organisms, they will spend their life up to 5 years juvenile phase. In some, maybe 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 10 years, like that. The juvenile phase or vegetative phase is of variable in different organisms. That is only the juvenile phase. The juvenile or vegetative phase is of variable in different organisms. Variable in different organisms. Next here, the terminal phase of the vegetative or juvenile phase is marks the beginning of reproductive phase. The terminal phase of juvenile or vegetative phase mark the beginning of reproductive phase. Mark the beginning of reproductive phase. This is called first phase. Features common to all sexual reproducing organisms are phases of reproducing organisms, sexually reproducing organisms. There are 3 phases of sexually reproducing organisms. In those three, first one is juvenile phase. Second one is reproductive phase. Second one is reproductive phase. Okay, so it is a phase. It refers to organism. The organism and parts of the organism is mature for producing new organisms. For producing new organisms. That is called reproductive phase. It is a phase which refers to reproductive parts of the organisms are mature and is ready for producing new offspring, new individuals. That phase is called reproductive phase. Some conditions in exams, 1 mark question they will ask, define reproductive phase. At that time, you have to mention this definition. Okay, that's all. Generally, so this reproductive phase in higher plants, especially in flowering plants, it shows some variations. Generally, those flowering plants show seasonal or annual flowering pattern. Seasonal or annual flowering pattern. Seasonal or annual flowering pattern. So, especially in flowering plants, those flowering plants shows seasonal and annual flowering plants. For example, mango, apple, jackfruit, mango, apple, and jackfruit. So these three plants show their flowering pattern specifically at particular seasons only. Throughout the year, these plants cannot give flowers. Hence, these plants give fruits at specific seasons only. Now you might have understood. The reproductive phase in flowering plants, in higher plants, especially flowering plants, shows seasonal and annual variation. That means what? At particular seasons only, some plants will come to reproductive phase. Some plants at particular yearly once only they will come to reproductive phase. That is called seasonal and annual flowering pattern. For example, mango, apple, jackfruit, they give flowers at particular seasons only. Hence, they can give fruits at particular seasons only. Mango fruits, apple fruits, jackfruits available at particular seasons only. Because of those plant flowers are produced at particular seasons only. Okay, that's all. Next here, the reproductive phase in higher plants, especially in flowering plants, such as rice, marigold, maize, etc. Okay, flowering plants such as rice, marigold, maize, etc. So these plants will give flowers more than once. That means what? More than once means what? In their reproductive phase only, they will give flowers different times. For example, so marigold you take. So marigold, generally it gives flowering November, December, January. In these 3 months, November, December, January, in these 3 months, in November month, one crop they will give flowers. After some gap, second time the same plant can give flowers. After certain gap, Again, third time they will give flower. That is called interflowering period. Interflowering period. That is called interflowering period. Interflowering period means what? The gap between one flowering pattern to another flowering. Not only said that, some higher plants, especially in flowering plants such as rice, marigold, maize, wheat, etc., they will give flowers more than once. More than once means what? In their particular seasons only. First time they will give, second time they will give, third time they will give. Some even they give fourth time also. That means what? From one flower to another flower, there is a gap will be there. That gap is called interflowering period. Okay, so interflowering period, it is a gap between from one flower to another flower. So generally, one flower, one time can give, one plant can give flowers at one time. After 10 days or 15 days, second time, the same plant gives second flowers. After second flower, again they will take gap, third time. This gap is nothing but interflowering period. Okay, that's all. So generally here, the reproductive phase is of variable duration in various plants. So the reproductive phase is different in different organisms. All organisms does not reach, all plants does not reach to at one time only to reproductive stage. All animals does not reach it to at one time only for reproductive phase. That is only the reproductive phase is of variable duration in different organisms. Here, one example I wanted to share you. See here, certain plants such as bambusa, bamboo. The scientific name of bamboo is Bambusa tulda. Certain plants such as bamboo. Scientific name of bamboo is Bambusa tulda. It can give flowers only once in their lifetime. That is about 50 to 100 years. After that, it will die. After that, it will die. Okay, that means what? It is can give flowers only once in their lifetime. So that such kind of plants are called monocarpic plants. It is very important objective bit. You will not get this word in textbook also. Monocarpic, mono one, carpic flowering pattern. Some plant species can give flowers only once in their lifetime. Thereafter it will die. For example, Bambusa tulda, bamboo plant. After 50 years, they will give flowers. They start giving flowers. In some 51 year or 52 year, 53, 60, 70, up to 100 years. In between that, in between this duration, they will give flowers. Thereafter, it's die. Their lifespan is finished. So that is called that is. Next, Strobilanthes. Strobilanthes kutyana. It is also called Neelakuranji. Less than 1 minute.